By the time Fred Gibson's team brought the R32 Skyline GT-R into the Australian Touring Car Championship, the car had already proven itself completely untouchable in Japan. But Australia in the early 1990s was a different kind of battlefield entirely, one with its own deeply established rivalries, its own homegrown heroes, and a fan base with decades of emotional investment in the cars already on the grid. Gibson Motorsport eased the car in gradually, running it in several rounds of the 1990 season as preparation before a bigger debut at Bathurst. That patience paid off almost immediately. In the final round of the 1990 season at Oran Park, driver Jim Richards took the GT-R to its first race win, and with it, the first of what would become 3 consecutive Australian Touring Car Championship titles for Nissan. It was an unmistakable early sign that Australia was about to experience the same overwhelming dominance Japan already had. It was around this period, through 1991 and 1992, that the nickname was born. The Australian press, watching this Japanese-built, all-wheel drive machine tear through a championship that had been built for decades around Ford and Holden rivalries, and more recently the Sierra and the M3, began referring to it as Godzilla, a reference to the monster from Japanese cinema, unstoppable and seemingly impossible to reason with. The name was meant, at least in part, as a genuine complaint about how thoroughly the car was dismantling the sport's competitive balance. Instead, it became one of the most beloved nicknames in automotive history, one that Nissan itself would eventually embrace and use commercially for decades afterward. Beyond Japan and Australia, the GT-R also made a mark in Europe, winning the 1991 Spa 24 Hours, one of the continent's most demanding touring car endurance races, while also setting the race's fastest lap along the way. It was proof that the car's dominance wasn't a quirk specific to any one country's rules or conditions. Wherever the GT-R was allowed to race largely unrestricted, it won. Back in Australia, Nissan's factory-backed effort under Gibson Motorsport continued its march through 1991 and into 1992, claiming the ATCC title in both years. The car had, by this point, become something larger than simply a successful race car. It had become the central figure in Australian motorsport's ongoing conversation about whether one manufacturer's engineering advantage had grown too large for the sport itself to remain healthy, a conversation that was about to reach its most dramatic and controversial moment yet, on the biggest stage in Australian racing, Mount Panorama, at Bathurst.